Hello, friends. Welcome to the today's session, where we will learn about the Mayer's principles. So let's start. Richard E. Mayer has given the 12 principles which help us to improve our instructional design or help us to create the learning material that can impact actual learning. Now, by the Richard E. Mayer, we have total of 12 principles that we are going to study in two parts. So basically, in the first part, we will be covering the top six principles from starting from 1 to 6, right? So let's start today's presentation. So what Mayer principles help us to improve our slide design that impact learning. Okay, there are certain principles. These principles are not necessary. You have to follow and follow. But yeah, these are research evidence based. So if you add these, apply these theories in your practical slide as instructional designer, you can sharpen your skills. I am moving to the next slide. First principle itself is called multimedia principle. That means learning is improved when you add graphics to your words. This is a stated one line definition which is clear that if your slide has text, add graphics. Okay, why this is so? Because we learn better, we recognize better by our visual channel when we see things like how it looks, and then the learning experience increases. If you are only seeing text, that not engage more the learner. That is why in multimedia principle we add text plus graphics. Like here, one thing is important. When you are adding graphic, it should be relevant to the topic. It is not important to add irrelevant graphics. And here my from the graphics I mean that, like, relevant graphics only. If for the, let's say for example, if there is no graphic for a concept, in such case you can use an infographics to present your idea better. Moving to the third slide. Now, this is an example. If you are not following the multimedia principle, how it feels. So, this slide is about the water cycle, and we have some text. So, here in the slide, we have only text, no visual evidence, no visual things to make and concept very much clearer, right? So, this is not making much easy learning. The learner has to read each line, even it not segmented, separated easily. So this reduces attention. From this slide, learning attention or learning graph will be reduced. So from if you apply multimedia principle to this specific slide, let's see what happens. Now, same concept, same slide, we have added with the graphic like about the water cycle and supported by the text. The text it says the water cycle is the continuous improvement of water above and below the surface of the earth. Now we have some graphics relevant to this topic, right? They are here we have presented a little text and more explanation is given by supported by the graphic. So if I ask any learner which slide you like, which slide support the more learning, so simply it is multimedia principle. Like this is attention will be reduced. If you apply the multimedia principle, then attention would be increased, like learner will be more attentive, right? Let's This is the first principle we have learned, you can apply, and this is a mandatory principle, I would say, because if you are putting just that doesn't make any learning experience. Second is the coherence principle. Learning is improved when you exclude extraneous potential distracting material from multimedia. Whenever, as instructional designer, we design content, we try to make our slide beautiful. No harm in making beautiful slide. We all want. but our goal is to improve the learning. Whenever we are trying to make a slide, remember that our goal is to improve the learning, not decorative slides. That is why this principle of Mayer's coherence principle is very very much essential for learners perspective. Okay, if you are presenting your slide with too much flowers, cars, generic images, that looks cool to learner but not going to add any relevant information. That is why, so what we have to do, we just need to remove extra material which can distract our learner. Okay, so this is the second principle, right? Let's see some examples. So this is a slide we have designed. The benefit of exercise. Here we have relevant image, right? Someone walking down the road, right? And exercise, doing exercise. And we have put stay healthy. That is okay, fine. Now we have some stars. We have some smiley faces, right? Icon. This is not adding any meaning, right? This borderline design, this like discount offer, it looks like something discounted, like 10% discount, 20% discount. So this is a first distracting element. This is second. This is third. This is no relevant. This is fourth, right? uh, and we have added like some effect on the header, text effect, reflection. There no need to be reflect, right? After that we have some pointers, which one is in red. And if you see the background color and the text color are, this slide has used multiple colors, right? So this is a huge distracting slide. So this slide is not following the coherence principle of Mayer's. But if when we apply the same principle to this slide, let's see. Now this slide is perfectly designed, right? Compare these two slides, I would say. This, when we don't apply coherence principle, and we get this if you apply the coherence principle. Simple heading, the benefit of exercise. Simple, one color, only relevant image, they're walking down the road, right? Same color, text, bullet point in same color, then pointers. This is how we actually make much impact to the learner. Remember that whenever you are creating slide, you should remove extra material, beautiful thing, wow effect, please remove it. Let's move to the third principle. We are going to cover six principle today in the first part. So we let's move to the third one. Now third point is signaling principles, right? Learning is improved when you highlight the key content and its organization. For example, this is a whole slide and I ask learner to click on the YouTube. Just I said click on the YouTube, and the YouTube button is somewhere here, right? But for a learner's perspective, it might possible that learner is not like fully attentive during the presentation, like so. But in that case, we need to guide the learner's attention to the specific part where, as a learner, as a slide, we want to focus. So we can highlight that part. Okay, we organize that part. For current example, like when I am teaching the signaling principle, I have marked this line. I am marking the key points. So signal, I am giving the signal where the signals to learner where to focus. Okay, let's see some example. So this is an example, right? Where we have written evaporation, condensation, precipitation, collective, right? But and there is a relevant image, right? This is a relevant. So this slide is following multimedia principle, support with the graphics, right? That is correct. And this also follows the coherence principle because there are no such distracting thing. But the what slide is missing as signaling principle, like where in the particular image where the learner need to guide attention. Evaporation, how evaporation connect in the entire system. We don't know how condensation, precipitation, collection. So how these all points connect? Let's see. Let's apply. the signaling principle to this specific slide. Now this is a fourth slide, third principle. Now we have applied the same. First we have marked the same point, blue color. Now when we are explaining our evaporation, then we have marked where to look on evaporation for 1 point 1 point. We are connecting the dots. We providing the learner the signal for this test. For this text you have to look on the evaporation part. Okay, for color third part, sorry, this is a mistake, this would be 4. So there is a correct mapping to the text, so we know that where the learners to look for, right? This is the third principle we have studied, right? So till now we have studied the three principles. First, it whenever you are creating slide, remove unnecessary, that is coherence principle. Add graphics, that is multimedia principle. Now signal your learner where to focus. You can highlight, you can organize, you can map the content like this. Let's look for the another principle, that is fourth, redundancy principle. Learning is improved when you use just graphic and narration together rather than adding on-screen text as well. Suppose you have a slide, okay, and the slide has some text and graphics, and that same text is repeating. So as a learner, where do I look? Only graphics, or should I listen what the voiceover is saying, or I should read? So this is the distracting part. This is not a proper visualization of slide. If your slide has narration, try to not use at all. Do not use any kind of text. You can add little bit text like heading, subtitle, kind of that. Let's see, this is a slide we have, right? Okay, the slide has done this part, and let's apply the signaling principle here. We have applied, right? So this is evaporation concept. Let's see, this slide also has narration. The same thing we are saying. Okay, so whether to focus on narration, whether to focus read the same point. If something is covered here, why to redundant? Why to duplicate the thing? Okay, let's say the slide has no narration at all. So that then the slide is fine, right? But the slide, if slide has narration, if someone there is a speaker, so we don't need to repeat things. So redundancy principle is simple, that you should not repeat the same content. That's it. Now we should we will apply the redundancy principle to this slide. This, assume that we have a narration, same previous slide narration. Now while narration, first point this comes, second, third, fourth. When narration says, so this is clear, we are listening to the specific narration, we are using signaling principle here, so that it will better learning. We don't need text if same thing is repeating. That is the way. We just show this animation that will be synchronized with the voiceover. That's the perfect learning we call. That doesn't mean that you don't have to use text at all. We have added text, right? This 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 we have added text. Now come to the fifth one, spatial contiguity. That is the fifth Mayer's principle. This says learning is improved when you place related graphics and text close together, okay, not far away on screen rather than far apart. This I will make you clear this point with the example. Now what is the issue here? I'm not talking about other principle, like yes, we can apply signaling, little bit text. I'm not talking about that, right? What is the issue you are saying there? So this part, this textual part, is looks like this is a different part, and with due to this space and the small size of this looks like that is a different part, different aspect of the slide. So that is not looking at related part, related concept. Okay, so as a learner, we don't know whether to focus this or whether to focus this. are they even connected or not, right? So if we apply the theory, that spatial contiguity theory, that means you should keep the images, relevant graphics and the text together for better learning. We can, if, if say that if there is an icon and there is a below text, so we can map like this icon means this. But here, due to the extra space, we can't recognize their relationship, right? That is why this principle focuses on to make things together, a related concept, group them together. Let's apply the same spatial contiguity principle here. So here now we have increased the size, and when here let's say we have mapped the pointers. Now this is clear. Now this we can say this is related. We have grouped. That is application of slide. That is all the principle which we are learning so far are relevant. That's research based, that support the learning. Now let's learn sixth principle, temporal contiguity principle. Learning is improved when related graphics and narration occur at the same time rather than one after. This is a basic simple principle. If we are saying that, let's say this is a narration, we are talking about listening skill here. Okay, so at the same time listening icon should be appear. That is a common, right? Let's say if we are talking about listening skill at here at 0.5 second, but our icon is coming at 1 second. That is no sense, like we can't draw our attention. That is a simple rule. Text and visual should be synchronized at the same time, not before or not after. For the better learning, we should know that, yeah, this when we are hearing this icon is connecting, so we should connect. That is a simple principle. Let's say this is example. This is the narration. We saw visual here. In next slide we are explaining the process. There is a no relevant, like we should see them together. Explanation should be with the image. That's it. We are here is the narration. One by one point is coming. That is making sense. So here thank you for be with me. With we have covered six principles. Let's revise all the six principles. In the next part, we will be covering more as a six principle, right? So let's have some quick recap. So first principle is multimedia principle, that said the learning is improved when you add graphics to your words. Now second is coherence principle, just remove extraneous material that not supporting your learning at all, remove it. That simple coherence principle is all about. Third is signaling principle, you should highlight the key important things or organize. Redundant principle, that do not repeat things. If the narration exists, then the on screen text should be minimal. Spatial contiguity theory, what it is, like we should group related graphics and text together. Temporal contiguity, synchronize basic and sync, which we all do. Thanks to stay with me. In the next part we will cover the rest of the six mayors principles. And one more thing is, you can watch this video, that is really well explains you mayors multimedia design with a practical example. Right within the video you can see some example. So you can search on Google that University Center of Teaching and Learning and find out the mayor's principle of multimedia design. Here you practically watch things, like how on the real time training it could be. Thank you.